Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Bill Thrash, and I am a GTM Program Executive in North America for Radware. Joining me today is Ricky Mehta, GTM and Strategic Alliances Program Manager. Our presentation today is on security in the multi-cloud era. A key objective of this presentation is to understand that security is another tool that will allow you to ensure that the migration of enterprise assets to the cloud is a successful one. We realize that there will be terms and concepts utilized in this presentation that you may not already be familiar with, so we invite you to the Q&A period at the end of this presentation. And if you want to have an in-depth conversation about any of the topics covered in this presentation today, please reach out to us and book time so that we may speak with you one-on-one. A little bit about Radware, what we do, and to highlight some of our customers so that you understand we take security seriously. Radware is a market leader in application cybersecurity and application delivery solutions for physical, cloud, and software-defined data centers, and our solutions are used by over 12,000 customers worldwide. These customers include 8 of the top 12 world stock exchanges, 11 of the top 20 world's commercial banks, 10 of the top 10 carrier service providers and cloud service providers, 5 of the top 10 SaaS providers. A lot of strategic initiatives we maintain at Radware are driven by our core strategic alliances and partnerships with the likes of Cisco, Checkpoint, Nokia, as well as Microsoft, where we co-develop, co-engineer, and maintain a mutual go-to-market strategy that brings Radware security solutions to our mutual customers. And finally, we are recognized as a leader and visionary by the likes of Gartner, Forrester, and IDC. Understanding that security will be a crucial pillar to any well-built digital transformation strategy will be a key differentiator for managed service providers as they engage the enterprise in addressing their security and compliance concerns moving into the cloud. The market opportunity is clear. Managed service providers understand that the enterprise is moving to the cloud. As part of this, the opportunity to apply services and to help secure that transformation and the ongoing utilization of cloud will be a great opportunity for managed service providers. The global public cloud service market is expected to reach $266 billion in 2020. More than $1.3 trillion in IT spending will be affected as the enterprise shifts to the cloud by 2022. But let's talk about public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid solutions. 94% of enterprises are utilizing the public cloud in some fashion today. This can be with application development environments, marketing sites, production application environments, as well as blogs and WordPress sites to share their thought leadership amongst the public. 72% of enterprises are utilizing a private cloud. These are often in-house solutions that they have developed themselves. And 69% are utilizing a hybrid on-prem, off-prem public cloud solution to deliver services and applications. 30% of those IT budgets are allocated to some form of cloud spend, which averaged $3.5 million for both these services and the infrastructure. However, 50% of enterprises spend more than $1.2 million annually on just cloud services. Organizations report utilizing more than 5 different cloud platforms. This introduces so much complexity in managing both the security as well as the compliance posture for these applications. That's why it's important to understand in the field that a key differentiator for managed service providers can be the way you address security in this march to the cloud. So what's that mean when we say protecting the enterprise? It's very important to understand what the threat landscape looks like and to understand that it's more than just what's in the media, what's in the news, and the latest breach headline. It's very complex. But let's understand some metrics that have been gathered as part of Radware's Global Application and Network Security Report so that we understand what the threat landscape looks like. Today's network and application threat landscape is complex, multifaceted, but often very intimidating to manage for the enterprise. Threat actors continue to evolve their tools, tactics, and procedures that not only evade detection, but cause harm to hosted applications and network availability. Let's be clear, attacks are no longer to disrupt the network availability alone. As the threat landscape continues to evolve, attacks are growing in complexity and persistency, and this is exacerbated by the impact that zero-day attacks have on exploits to open source protocols, third-party tools, and other vendor applications that are utilized when developing or deploying new customer assets. These concerns are magnified as applications migrate to the cloud, the traditional enterprise IT perimeter dissolves, and organizations face an often complex distributed data center that spans cloud providers and multiple private networks. So let's go beneath the cover of just the OWASP Top 10 and understand what other attack vectors are in the headlines impacting real-world customers today. There are vulnerability exploitations, the likes of which have impacted Capital One in 100 million records based on a server-side request forgery. Bot protection impacting Dunkin' Donuts with 10 million records as related to a credential stuffing attack. And when we talk bots, which we'll touch on further in this presentation, we're not talking about good bots like Google Crawler, Bing, Yahoo, which provide a necessary function to search results. We're talking bad bots that mimic human behavior. There's API abuse, the likes of which impacted the PCI system that Panera Bread utilized and left them with 37 million records exposed. Furthermore, understanding that it's not just about network availability, the attacks have moved to the application layer, and they're now DDoSing the application layer and rendering applications like Wikipedia unavailable for the common user. You need protection that covers all attack vectors. So how do we start to understand where the responsibility of the customer exists and the responsibility of the cloud provider exists? Using AWS as an example, public cloud providers are responsible for the infrastructure itself, what we refer to as the four walls. If it's up, if it's running, and it's cooled, their responsibility are fulfilled. Customer responsibility for the security in the cloud resides with the customer. This requires the customer to perform a necessary function of securing the instance, hardening the instance, and patching the instance for as long as the application is up and running. This often requires the ability to see what is out there, what credentials have access to the instance, and who is managing the security and hardening of the instance. So then let's understand, when it comes to cloud native, what do the attack vectors look like? There's your run-of-the-mill data breach, which have become an all too common and unfortunate headline in the news today. This is the unintentional exposure or theft of data stored in public clouds. What about account compromise? These are accounts that are used to manage those instances in the public cloud. And this involves taking over public cloud accounts and then disrupting normal operations. And then there's one that's lesser known unless you've managed the assets for an end customer, and that is resource exploitation. It's effectively exploiting company resources for personal gain, leaving it to foot the bill. This can involve compromising payment card fields in an application, sending the payment card data to a third party, recording those and utilizing them for nefarious reasons. This can also be as simple as utilizing a customer's resources for compute to mine Bitcoin. So let's join Ricky and pick up the conversation and focus on security challenges in a multi-cloud environment. Ricky?
For laying out the complexities behind the threat landscape that we see today. So everyone, again, thanks for being a part of our conversation today around security in the multi-cloud era. My name again is Ricky Mehta. I'm the GTM and Strategic Alliances Program Manager here in North America for Radware. So as Bill mentioned, we want to start now looking at what are the security challenges that organizations, service providers alike are facing in this multi-cloud era. So as we look at the challenges with both application and network security, we see two main challenges businesses are facing when dealing with securing both their application and network assets. Number one, keeping up with the variety of attack types and different threat vectors that are out in the wild. We see the attack landscape is evolving to include not only the application and network vulnerabilities, but also a combination of botnet attacks, API abuse, and application layer DDoS, which in turn requires organizations to look at a comprehensive and effective security model. The other main challenge that we see, also listed as number one on our list here, is the need to secure applications in an ever-changing dynamic environment. We see with cloud migration and the need to support continuous delivery models, the need to support a growing number of applications that are frequently added and changed, whether they're developed and hosted in-house, in a private cloud, or a public cloud. It becomes very challenging to manually onboard and monitor these apps and update their security policies, which in turn requires an adaptive and automated security protection strategy for organizations today. What we see is applications today are not only web-based, they're everywhere. When we talk about applications and network security, these two challenges are the risks that we need to mitigate and the risks that we hope to present to you and demonstrate how we can help you solve these problems. When we take a step back and look at applications today, these applications are complex to secure. These are applications and network assets that live in a heterogeneous environment, right? We want to look at the distribution and the multitude of these instances existing in more applications. These apps are broken down in multiple functions and multiple microservices, and which can result in really no visibility or control. The delivery of these applications are much more complex, and so the need to influence security-related decisions sometimes is an afterthought that needs to be at the forefront of decisions companies are making. And then really when we look at the dynamics of development and deployment, apps are frequently changing and are using open source modules to integrate to drive go-to-market strategies where we need to implement security at the forefront to ensure that we're adapting to the needs and the protection profiles that are needed for these applications to be accessible on the internet. More so, as we see modern applications are complex to secure, so is the traffic that our applications are interfacing with in today's complex environment. What we're seeing is not all traffic is based on human-generated traffic. 52% of internet traffic today is generated by folks like you and I who are going out and trying to use internet-facing applications today. The more eye-opening statistic here is 24% of internet traffic today is malicious and generated by bad bots. And so when we take a step back and look at what are these bots in general doing, they're executing nearly 50% of internet traffic today. Now there are some examples of good bots like search engines, pricing services, web crawlers, etc. But the major focus here is on the complexity that bad bots bring to the threat landscape, where these malicious bots are executing web scraping attacks, account takeover attacks, and even DDoS attacks against your applications today. As enterprises modernize their software development pipelines and embrace cloud-native architectures, they quickly discover a cloud security landscape fragmented with disparate approaches to security that lack consistency in controls across applications, data, and infrastructure. The cloud security market is at an inflection point where a comprehensive and unified approach to cloud security for applications, information, and infrastructure is a key pillar to security strategy for enterprise customers to maintain consistent security and compliance control across any cloud-native technology in order to identify and prevent threats and anomalous activities. So as we set the complexities of the threat landscape and the security challenges in the multi-cloud era, we must not forget the customer concerns that service providers, organizations, IT leaders face and users of their platforms. So when we look at addressing customer concerns, a key strength in the Radware partnership model is the ability to quickly and efficiently organize an effective go-to-market strategy that enables service providers and organizations alike to address security challenges with public cloud protection, application protection, data center protection, whether on-premise or multi-cloud, and application delivery to enable organizations and service providers to provide customer protection. In order to address these customer concerns, we look at how the enterprise continues to innovate to evolve at a rapid pace. Data and applications now live in multiple cloud environments across both public and private clouds, spanning co-located and internally hosted infrastructure, platform as a service, and software as a service offerings, with little emphasis placed on the security and compliance of these managed environments. Addressing customer concerns with both a cloud-native protection suite and a comprehensive security solution is a key strategy moving forward. So when we take a step back here at Radware and we look at what does it take to stay protected, we look at a complete integrated solution that addresses a wide protection coverage across all types of environments, a solution that is innovative and automated, that leverages machine learning and advanced algorithms, along with integrated threat intelligence to get ahead of the threat landscape and attackers that are out there. And all backed by a managed security service that offers a global security footprint with security experts and fully managed services backing it up. With respect to a complete integrated solution, we see the need for a comprehensive security suite. Radware provides a complete suite of protection that offers protection for every threat surface, with protection from DDoS attacks on the network and application layers for both volumetric and non-volumetric DDoS attacks, SSL attacks, protection against advanced bot attacks, and workload protection. Of protection solutions that are available in the cloud as a cloud-native solution, as a part of a hybrid security service, integrated both with cloud services and deployments on-premise in a data center, and as a part of a physical or virtual deployment as a virtual appliance in data centers or in the cloud environment. Global security service infrastructure, we see that Radware has 11 DDoS scrubbing centers worldwide, with 24 cloud WAF and bot management POPs, and security services available in any of Azure's 54 regions globally, all backed by a global mitigation capacity of 7.5 terabytes. Radware security services are deployed as the only Azure Cloud Native, fully managed cloud security service today. What does that mean for Azure users? That means a high grade of enterprise-grade protection based on Radware technology, all deployed in Microsoft data centers globally that enable minimal latency based on Microsoft's fiber optic backbone and proximity to protected origin servers, with high grade of security services for your infrastructure. Innovation and automation. When we look at cloud transformation security strategies, we focus on the need for complete protection from DDoS attacks, both at the network and application layers for both volumetric and non-volumetric attacks, SSL-based attacks, bot attacks, and the need for cloud-native workload protection. We look at a security strategy that's focused on behavior-based detection algorithms that provide machine learning to automatically distinguish between legitimate user traffic and attack traffic. The need for integrated threat intelligence that relies on an extensive database of attack footprints based on real-world and real-time threat intelligence. A security strategy that integrates an automated and adaptive security policy to provide zero time to mitigate with real-time signature creation that, of course, is flexible in its ability to be deployed in every environment our users and our organizations are in. A sound security strategy needs to be built to protect you and your organization from advanced attacks like DNS attacks, burst attacks, encrypted attacks, and attacks from IoT botnets. Having the capability to provide zero time to mitigate with real-time signature creation, Radware helps you in your fight against these advanced attackers and attacks against your organization. Radware's behavioral mitigation capability provides automated mitigation for nearly all attack vectors. Radware deploys a multi-layer approach in order to eliminate these attacks and attackers, providing zero-time mitigation for your organizations. DevOps and Agile development practices are great for quickly and efficiently creating new applications. When we look at continuous security delivery, automation, elasticity, and flexibility are key for organizations looking to protect applications and APIs across distributed environments. Organizations typically look for a single scalable solution with one pane of glass for visibility, operation, and event management. Radware's unique auto policy generation engine maps the protected application for application vulnerabilities, creating traffic baselines based on application learning, all while adapting the learned application profile for any updates or changes. This engine eliminates the dependency on manual application onboarding and any hands-on management. This is all based on patented AI to execute a model of learning to learn, or what we call classification-based learning. This is learning an inductive bias based on an understanding gained from the protective application and associated attributes to classify and create legit, suspicious, and attack-based profiles. For agile or DevOps environments, machine learning algorithms track changes and updates to the application and in turn update the associated security policy accordingly. First and second generation bots are the bots that most of our competitors are adept at detecting. They appear in the form of automated scripts or even the ability to mimic some user behavior and are able to pass challenges and spoof IP addresses. With time, we see that an evolution in the abilities of these bots have arrived. We now have third and fourth generation bots that are better at interacting like humans would, even down to mimicking our mouse movements. These bots are now capable of being distributed on a large scale while behaving like human users, where our competitors struggle to actively detect and mitigate. Radware Security employs IP-agnostic fingerprinting and intent-based deep behavior analysis to enable precise tracking of activity for these bots, coupled with the development of proprietary IP-agnostic device reputation profiles that identify, blacklist, and automatically block all generations of bots used for attacks, regardless of the masking techniques these malicious bots are employing. Multi-cloud deployments provide a need to have a cloud-native solution for comprehensive protection of your assets by ensuring consistent security and compliance across multi-cloud and hybrid cloud environments to simplify security operations by gaining deep cross-cloud security visibility. Another important attribute here is threat intelligence. When we look at Radwares capability in our global deception network, we have deception agents deployed worldwide, luring malicious attackers where we're collecting over 4,000 unique malicious IPs every hour and feeding that into our deployments worldwide, both in our Radware-operated cloud-based points of presence and on-premise deployments of our security solutions, whether in cloud or in a data center. We integrate agents to provide immunity for your attack mitigation systems that offer a true multi-layer protection service against known and unknown vectors and bad actors. This is real-time intelligence that provides preemptive protection. Here, I now have a chance to show you Radware's multi-layered protection with threat intelligence. At the core, you have your protected network or your application. We then have the Radware security service with its unique behavioral-based detection and real-time signature creation to block unknown attacks from attacking your application or your network assets. On top of that, we layer our proprietary threat intelligence feed that enables Radware security pops to receive security signature feeds for known attack types that we are detecting in the wild. This enables our security services to immediately block any known attacks and attack tools that we've discovered in our global deception network. On top of the threat intelligence feed, we layer on what we call the active attackers feed. This is focused on blocking known attackers from entering your environment and attacking your applications or your assets. Again, these are known attackers we're discovering in our global deception networks in advance of any attack happening against your protected assets. This feed actively blocks attackers that are currently active in real time before they even attack your network. Think of this layer as the border control system for any country, actively blocking known terrorists from ever entering the country even before they actually plan an attack against that country. Last but not least, our final layer of protection is the location-based mitigation that enables detection capabilities to view the geographical origin of all ongoing attacks, identifying the geo-origin of attacks, and then permanently or temporarily blocking and attacking geo with one easy click from our cloud security portal. All of this is backed by a managed security service. Radware ERT includes experts in application and cybersecurity threats and network-level attacks with hands-on experience and skills to detect and mitigate attacks in real time, assist customers, security personnel, and operate Radware security solutions. The Radware Emergency Response Team is located around the world. ERT operates globally, providing 24/7 by 365 support coverage, attack mitigation, and managed services for Radware's cloud-based and on-premise security solutions. As our customers and our organizations that we work with and the partners that we partner to go to market with look to offer services for their end users and the organizations that they support, it's important to note that all of our services must be backed by industry-leading SLA commitments with respect to measuring how quickly an attack is detected, measuring how quickly administrators of the security service are notified, measuring how quickly diversion is initiated for those deployments that are hybrid of nature, measuring how quickly an attack is stopped, and not only how quickly the attack is stopped, but the consistency and the quality of the mitigation of the bad traffic that we are blocking, and the service availability and consistency of the security service that's being offered to the organizations that are subscribing to that service either directly from Radware or our partners. We like to say Radware backs its services with the industry's most extensive service level agreements with these 6 individual SLA commitments you see on the slide in front of you today. With that, I thank you for your time. Proud to have been able to spend this time with you and with Bill Thrash in order to talk about security in the multi-cloud era and addressing a dangerous and complex threat landscape, how those threat landscapes result in security challenges for your users or your organizations, and what we here at Radware see it takes to stay protected. And with that, we're happy to take any questions.
Hey, good evening. Ricky, I think we've got a couple questions here. Let me pull up the Q&A real quick.
Yeah, Bill, we do have a couple. I can serve you the first one here. I think you'd be a good one to answer this one. So the first question we have from the audience is, as a consultant in the field, when do I introduce security into the conversation? Is it at the beginning or when I've already mapped the security path into a public cloud provider?
That's a great question. So, you know, in the field, we like to understand the reason the customer is looking to have the help of an MSP. So in the security industry, often we call it the hole in the boat. They're either going to come out with it right up front and tell you, we're concerned about the security of our applications, so we're moving it to the cloud, and we need to understand what you offer in terms of a web application firewall. The hole in the boat is often either they've been breached, their application has been compromised, or they've suffered some sort of security incident that they may not be willing to share with you until an NDA is executed. So some probing questions you can provide at the beginning are, what's the status of your security, your last security audit or a QSA audit, or your involvement with the CISO or compliance team? Trying to understand who has a say in the room to drive the security conversation with regards to their path to the cloud. So I like to get it at the beginning, but certainly you don't want to press it till you've built that trusted advisor role with them. And certainly if you have a long-term relationship with the end customer that you're working with or consulting for, you can feel free to, come clean or ask for candor in the conversation as to what layer or level the security plays in the conversation. Ricky, we've got one, looks like, how is Radware able to protect my assets that exist not only in a multi-cloud deployment, but also in multiple data centers? This would be a good one for you.
Yeah, this is actually a real good question, and we run into this a lot. So even though we spent a lot of time today talking and really focusing just on multi-cloud, right? Really looking at the landscape as kind of a heterogeneous or disparate set of clouds. More than likely, right, our customers are going to be in a multitude of data centers, right? So the physical assets are distributed as well. So with that being the case, there's a few options that we bring to the table, and I like to think that we can offer something for everyone in every deployment. So when you talk about a multi-cloud deployment, you have the capability to consume services from Radware based on the notion that we deliver a cloud-native security solution. Now, this is both cloud-native with respect to, we are agnostic to whatever public cloud you're deployed in. But when we start looking at where the network and the assets reside, we do have some native in the cloud services with respect to Azure and some things in AWS based on our workload protection service there. But now when you talk about also adding in this layer of multiple data centers, we also offer what's called a hybrid deployment model, which enables you to deploy if you so choose, which we believe is kind of the best protection set that you can get, is physical appliances in your data center, and then leverage our cloud services kind of as your emergency help, your insurance, your volumetric type support, for instances where your local transit or your local capabilities are overrun. In that scenario, you have end-to-end coverage. And so, long story short, I think there's a multitude of solution sets that we can put into place that certainly cover every single deployment option that's out there. So with that said, I know we have some questions queuing up. I do want to take a moment to poll the audience, see if anyone in attendance would like to come off mute, if they're on mute, and ask a question live. You're happy to also submit a question to us, and we can take those questions as they come into us. We'll pause for a few seconds.
Looks like we have another question regarding the managed service. May I ask the team allocation? Not sure if you mean the team that will engage or the team from Radware.
Yeah, so I think we
but
can
maybe
answer that question, Bill, probably a couple different ways. In terms of maybe allocation, maybe where they're globally dispersed, we'll answer it in that level first, and then we could talk a little bit kind of about the team makeup. So in terms of kind of geographically, our team follows a follow the sun model. So wherever our customers are, in essence, we follow a global footprint to provide these managed services. So rest assured, we have the experts and the services in place to not only support our global footprint, but the global footprint of our customers as well. And then in terms of kind of a hierarchy of an organization, maybe, what sort of a managed services team that we have, there are many different levels there that I'll cover at a very high level. So in terms of a customer engagement perspective, our managed services includes a technical account managers for our most strategic partners and customers. We then have a cloud operations team that is responsible for managing the infrastructure of the team. We then have our own SOC that's responsible for day-to-day SOC type activities, and then service monitoring for all of the assets that are under protection with the Radware security services. We then have a series of analysts that basically are responsible for validation, right? They are the first line of mitigation for any attacks that our customers are being impacted by, or any attacks that are ongoing that they may not be impacted by. Our analysts are taking a look to capture reporting and feeding that into our customers. And then when we're faced with complex attacks and there's a need for forensics and analysis, maybe some complex solution architecture that comes into play, it's very often we deploy very complex solution architecture for our customers. We have a series of what we call experts. These are highly sophisticated security experts, network engineers, architecture experts that come into play. And then we have a specific research team that is operating our threat intelligence network. They're researching evolving threats and then really providing the deep analysis of potential attackers and attacks that may be happening in the wild that we need to make our customers and our POPs aware of.
Okay, great.
So we have another
looks like
question. Bill, sorry, I was going to jump in there.
Sure.
This one I think is a good one for you also. Who is the title we'd be landing security questions with? Is it a network engineer that is going to support security as a part of the conversation, or should we be addressing the CSO, maybe somebody from the security team?
Mm-hmm. It's a great question, right? So again, as a managed service provider, you're in a consultative role. You've either had an existing relationship that has kind of promoted you to a trusted advisor role within the organization in one part, or you have won an RFP. And so approaching it from both perspectives, if you already have that trusted advisor role, it's your job as the managed services provider to seek out buy-in from the security team. So this can be done in a myriad of ways. Larger organizations typically have an in-house SOC. That SOC is overseen by a director or a vice president of security, but partner to that community will be the CISO, and this person is responsible for the information, the security of the information within the organization. It's always a great idea to go to LinkedIn, search for resources who have security engineer in their title, network security engineer, chief security officer, vice president of security. Often look for groups that, because the security field as a whole, we're very social within our own. We network within our own group. It's often a welcoming community with many different national organizations. But with regards to advancing the cloud conversation and tying security into it, oftentimes you can look for someone as simple as a security engineer whose job is to look at a screen, respond to incident alerts, and build queries or build tickets, and they will help promote your name within their organization to then bring them into the conversation with the application developer or systems engineer that you're working with. From the, coming in blind, winning an RFP or building a new relationship, oftentimes, anytime you can meet and greet with the customer on site, you're going to be looking for where their security team is set up and trying to meet several of those individuals. I guarantee you, part of the conversation that the board of directors and the executive leadership is going to have with IT revolves around how this will strengthen their security posture. So do feel free as you build that trusted advisor role with your point of contact to lend a hand to meeting the security team.
Good insight there, Bill. Thanks for answering that question.
Yeah. If you have any other questions, you can type them into the Q&A box and hit submit. I think we have one more here. Read through this. How does Radware approach bot mitigation and application protection for retail environments that are moving more towards a digital e-commerce platform with the recent news of coronavirus shutting down the brick and mortar stores? Ricky, take that one. Take a crack at that. That's bot, which is certainly an interesting subject.
Yeah, I think overall, the impact that organizations and commerce in general is facing with the coronavirus is really top of mind. So, we're seeing this as the new reality, right? Where box stores are shutting down and moving their business to all the commerce is going digital. And what we're finding is, there's this notion of, all bots may be bad bots, but, presumptively, there are individual buyers that use bots to make purchases, to take, materials and push that through their own supply chains in sort of a partnership form. So really the question becomes, typically in attack mitigation, right, the impact is binary, right? Do you block or do you not block? But when you talk about an e-commerce platform and in needing to ensure that the people that want to consume your products, right, everyone has equal access as long as they're not truly malicious, it's no longer binary, right? So you have to be able to look at how can we elevate what we call organic traffic over this automated traffic. And in order to do that, you have to be able to really look at the true intent of the activity. And that's really the core of the Radware technology for our application protection suite that involves bot management is you have to be able to decipher, bot or no bot, that's easy, right? Everyone can kind of do that. But when you look at being able to make a non-binary decision, do I block or do I not block, you're actually having to really dig into the heuristics of the bot and diagnose it in terms of what is its fingerprint, right? Where is this device coming from? What is its intent? Meaning, how is it behaving and exchanging information with the application? and then correlating that over a series of time. And so that's what you get with our security suite here is really a non-binary approach. I mean, we do the binary stuff right. We know how to block. We know how to not block. But really looking at the intent and the non-binary focus is really what's key in the differentiator in terms of being able to decipher how can I ensure that my organic traffic, right, is elevated above and beyond this quote unquote automated traffic that may be bad but may not be bad.
Right. And that's a great point. And I think the takeaway for managed service providers is to understand that in security, we don't have enough bodies to throw at these problems. So a benefit to this, and Ricky touched on this elegantly, this is understanding the type of traffic in a way that is both fingerprinted, but in also its behavior. Because the bots are starting to mimic human behavior, we need to be able to look at, well, what's behind that? When we talk fingerprinting, what's the memory? What's the display size? What OS are they using? Where are they making this request from? Learning and understanding, is this a typical time for this size of traffic coming in if it's a botnet? So this is more than just a people problem. The beauty of the tool set is to be able to deploy it, have it grow with the organization, understand the application as it continues to iterate and develop, and get out of the way of having to throw humans in front of a screen to do a rudimentary task like checking traffic and heuristics.
Yep. No, great addition there, Bill. Thanks for covering that off.
So it looks like that's finished all the questions. We certainly appreciate everybody joining. Again, if you have any questions, want to follow up, have a conversation, please reach out. I can be reached at william.thrash@radware.com, and we will certainly take the time to reach back out to you, and both Ricky and I will identify a resource that can meet during in-country hours to answer any additional questions you have. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day, and please stay safe, stay healthy. Have a great night.